O Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, Chapter 8, verse number 28. Praham Bhagavatam Namam Puranam Brahma Samitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Brahma Kalpe Upagate Praha Bhagavam Nama Praha Bhagavam Nama Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samitam Puranam Brahma Sahitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Brahma Kalpa Upagate Praha Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Brahma Kalpa Upagate Praha Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Brahma Kalpa Upagate. Please repeat. Praha Bhagavatam Namam Puranam Brahma Samhitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Kalpa Upagate. Praha Bhagavatam Nama Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Kalpa Upagate. Praha Bhagavatam Nama Brahma Brahma Samhitam Brahmane Bhagavat
Praha Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Brahma Kalpa Upagate.
Praha Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Brahma Kalpa Upagate. Praha, he said, Bhagavatam, the science of the personality of Godhead. Nama, of the name. Puranam, the supplement of the Vedas. Brahma Samitam, just in pursuance of the Vedas. Brahmane, unto Lord Brahma. Bhagavat Proktam was spoken by the personality of Godhead. Brahma Kalpe, the millennium in which Brahma was first generated. Upagate, just in the beginning. Translation purport, all given by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. He began to reply to the inquiries of Maharaja Parikshit by saying that the science of the personality of Godhead was spoken first by the Lord himself to Brahma when he was first born. Srimad Bhagavatam is the supplementary Vedic literature, and it is just in pursuance of the Vedas. Purport. Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of the personality of Godhead. The impersonalists always try to misrepresent the personal feature of the Lord, not knowing the science of this great knowledge. And Srimad Bhagavatam is in pursuance of the Vedas and scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead. To learn this science, one should take shelter of the representative of Sri Shukadeva and follow in the footsteps of Maharaja Parikshit, without foolishly attempting to interpret, thereby committing a great offense at the feet of the Lord. The dangerous ways of interpretations by non-devotees, class of men, have played havoc in understanding the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the careful student should be always alert in this matter if he at all wants to learn the science of Godhead. Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyanam Janam Shalakaya Chakshurun Militanjena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Supadam Tikam Vanchakalpatarubhisya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karati Vachalam Pangulagayate Giri Kripayatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dhanatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hare Om Tat Sat Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishta Bhutale Srimati Jaya Pataka Samati Namani Namachar Padanta Kripadana Guru Kadana Guru Gramthara Namashna Padaya Krishna Mesta Vidali Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Samati Namani Namaste Sarasvati Deva Guru Vani Pacharina Visheshana Varipasya Tadishtarina. So read again the verse. He began to reply the inquiries of Maharaja Parikshit by saying that the science of the personality of Godhead was spoken first by the Lord himself to Brahma when he was first born. Srimad Bhagavatam is the supplementary Vedic literature and is just in pursuance of the Vedas. So the first point that in the verse itself we can see is how Shukadeva Goswami is explaining that Krishna consciousness is a science. Far from all other spiritual processes we see around the whole world, which are not really capable of answering our questions to the fullest extent, Krishna consciousness is Purnam, complete and perfect, and is therefore the right source to dissipate all darkness of doubt. And that's exactly why Maharaja Parikshit, he searched for the right person to teach him this science. Because the kinds of questions that Maharaja Parikshit had were, of course, very philosophical, but at the same time very practical, because he didn't have much time. He had only 7 days to live, and therefore he needed something that he could apply immediately. And Shukadeva Goswami first said that this science, this transcendental science capable of giving all answers, was first spoken by Krishna to Brahma. So just like before we start speaking, we utter prayers to the previous masters, he did the same. He humbly pointed out that actually this knowledge, these answers he was giving, was not by his own imagination. He didn't made up these answers. But actually, this was received by the first created being and was transmitted by the source of everything. And like this, he could actually continue the disciplic succession by following the footsteps of Brahma. He was not inventing something new, like unfortunately we see so common. Prabhupada said, this is your disease, he said to the Western devotees, to the Americans especially. He said, this is your disease, you're always making something new. You're never content with what is given. You're always like inventing, creating new things. So this is actually the qualification of a spiritual master. And there are different kinds of spiritual masters. Not only he who gives Diksha initiation, but also he who gives instruction, Shiksha, the spiritual master. And not only he, but also all those devotees who are connecting jivas to Krishna, the souls that are forgotten of Krishna, the book distributors, the preachers. They're also gurus. They're Vartma Pradaksha gurus. They're linking the soul again to Krishna after countless lifetimes of forgetfulness. So, the purport, Prabhupada begins explaining that Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of the personality of Godhead. And the impersonalists always try to misrepresent the personal feature of the Lord, not knowing the science of this great knowledge. And Srimad Bhagavatam is in the pursuance of the Vedas and scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead. So we see this so commonly. So many people we find on the streets, we meet them and they say, already read the Bhagavad Gita and this and that. But their conclusion is always impersonal. That Krishna is an archetype and Arjuna is another archetype. I'm Arjuna, I'm Krishna, you're Arjuna, you're Krishna. It's just our inner battle. The conclusion is always, they always misrepresent Krishna, not accepting his supreme position as the supreme personality of Godhead. In this way, we need to understand how to learn the science, because it's very practical. That's why Arjuna also asked Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita at 2:54. He asks, what are the symptoms of a person situated in transcendence? How does he speak? What is his language? How does he sit and how does he walk? Because practically understanding the science of Krishna is not just grasping the knowledge. There is this big tendency, even in the devotional society, for intellectualism. Many devotees, they are concerned only with the academic part of society, the so-called intellectuals, and they give like big philosophical presentations. But the science goes way deeper than that. Just the knowledge itself is not enough for us to understand the personality of Godhead. So we see that many people, they have all these degrees, and they actually research the Vedas and everything, but because they don't have the association of someone who actually practices Krishna consciousness, they do not know how to live as a Krishna conscious person. The knowledge is like the manual of instructions. We have everything in the Vedas and Prabhupada's books. But to actually follow properly the manual, we gotta have the example of someone who can actually do that practically. We see that these books, they preach for themselves. There was an occasion, I think in the United Kingdom, the BBT, they received a letter from Portugal at the time, and this person was a young man. He was asking how to improve his sadhana and everything, and he told in the letter that he was chanting 16 rounds and following the 4 regulative principles, and he read the Bhagavad Gita and everything, and he wanted to become like a devotee. And the devotees were like really astonished, because at the time nobody had ever gone to Portugal to preach. But somehow or other, Prabhupada's book went there, and Prabhupada preached there. And he became a devotee. And he was asking further instructions on how to further progress. But as an intelligent guy, he searched for a devotees association. Because after a certain point, it's really hard to progress just by the books. We need to be engaged in devotional service, practically engaged. And by the association of devotees, we can understand how a devotee behaves, how he speaks, how he thinks, wills, and what are his habits, and all this is part of the science, the Vaishnava behavior, the etiquette. This is actually what makes sustainable for a person to remain in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, just the theoretical knowledge, we see, unfortunately, in Brazil is very big. All this, they try to take all the devotional features of Krishna consciousness out of it, so it can be more widely acceptable. But it's not working, They're not reaching, not making many devotees. They're mostly preaching to older devotees. But why? Why doesn't it work? Because without the culture, how will you practice Krishna consciousness? How will you practice celibacy if you go around kissing everybody's cheeks, hugging everybody around, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, dressing lustfully? How will you keep your standard? How will you eat only prasadam if you don't even know how to cook? So many people, they say, oh, I'm vegetarian and everything. They're trying to practice devotional service, but do you cook? No. What they eat? Only karmi food. So how will they progress without culture? Only by theoretical knowledge. They can say, oh, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, and think they offered to Krishna, Because Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, whatever you're going to give in charity, whatever gifts, whatever you eat, whatever you do, whatever austerities you perform, do that for me. So the person can read this, and then it's okay. I'm going to the restaurant. I'm going to offer to Krishna. Here, Krishna, it's for you. Now I eat. This is the theory, but they actually have to live with a devotee to understand how to behave properly. So Srila Prabhupada, in another verse of the Bhagavatam, he explains in the verse 2, in the Canto 2, chapter 9, verse number 7, he explains that in the purport, as already stated, Brahma is the original spiritual master for the universe, and since he was initiated by the Lord himself, the message of the Srimad Bhagavatam is coming down by disciplic succession. And in order to receive the real message of the Srimad Bhagavatam, one should approach the current link or spiritual master in the chain of disciplic succession. After being initiated by the proper spiritual master in that chain of succession, one should engage himself in the discharge of tapasya by the execution of devotional service. One should not, however, think himself on the level of Brahma, to be initiated directly by the Lord from inside, because in the present age, no one can be accepted to be as pure as Brahma. The post of Brahma, to officiate in the creation of the universe, is offered to the most pure living being. And unless one is so qualified, one cannot expect to be treated like Brahmaji directly. But one can have the same facility through unalloyed devotees of the Lord, through scriptural instructions, as revealed in the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam especially, and also the bona fide spiritual master available to the sincere soul. The Lord himself appears as the spiritual master to a person who is sincere in heart about serving the Lord. Therefore, the bona fide spiritual master who happens to meet the sincere devotee should be accepted as the most confidential and beloved representative of the Lord. If a person is posted under the guidance of such a bona fide spiritual master, it may be accepted without any doubt that the desiring person has achieved the grace of the Lord. So, this is the biggest grace. Yesterday was something really... Krishna is always giving us incentive in our discharge of, our attempt to discharge devotional service. So, something really, really nice happened yesterday. I was in the airport, and I spoke to this lady. I think she's from like South Sudan, somewhere in Africa. And I came with the books and said, these books are, no, as we do, this for you and everything. And she said, really? This is for me? Wow. She said, I've been through so much suffering in my life, but now I can see that God is blessing me with these books. And she actually became very touched, She actually could see, wow, this is God blessing in my life, He's coming in the form of these books to bless me. And 1 hour after that, I was still doing books and everything, and she appeared again, and she said, I already started reading, and his story, speaking about Srila Prabhupada in SSR, so his story is so touching, such a strong story. He just read the brief biography. And she said, I'll make sure I'll share these books with everyone. So when a person has even a little bit of sincerity, he can understand how valuable this is. How we're receiving such a tremendous blessing. And this is the way we can retribute. There is actually only one way, by spreading this to others. By sharing the same blessing we're receiving, as a sign of gratitude, we need to dedicate our lives to give this to others. And actually, I once asked my Shiksha Guru, because I never seen him any day mental or without enthusiasm, always on the same platform, always very enthusiastic to serve Krishna. And I asked, how you maintain your enthusiasm? And he said, it's by gratitude. Can't you see? He said, can't you see? Can't you see all this that we're receiving? How couldn't I be enthusiastic? Look all that we're receiving, all this mercy, all these blessings. How couldn't I? It's just if I have a little bit of gratitude, the less I can do, is to dedicate my life, because otherwise, what would we be doing right now? So Maharaj Parikshit, he was actually, as a pure devotee of the Lord, he could see Lord Krishna behind everything. So when he saw Shukadeva Goswami about to explain the whole philosophy, of course he could understand that this is the person sent by God to explain God's science to me, And this is the way we should also see our own spiritual master, as not only theoretically as a representative of God, but actually, in a very practical way, as someone sent by God to rescue us in this material world. Not only that, but to give the mission of our lives, to give us purpose, to give us meaning in everything we do. And it's actually, as I was speaking to a very special devotee yesterday, he told me that in book distribution, his meditation is to meditate on the qualities of his spiritual master. So it's actually by meditating on the qualities of our spiritual masters that we can become devotees. It said that the third class devotee, the third class disciple, when the spiritual master gives him an instruction, he does it, but not very willingly. The second class, he does promptly. And the first class devotee, he does even before the first class disciple, even before the spiritual master asks him, because he knows the heart of the spiritual master. So we should always be meditating on our spiritual master. And Srila Prabhupada, how would he behave in this situation? What would he think of this and that and this? Would be him satisfied with my behavior in this situation? How would he reply to this person specifically? And in this way, we can actually receive the good qualities, as we sing in Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Gurueda Sitrina Pekati Hina. All the qualities that are in me are merely a product is merely your kripa, your mercy, everything that's manifest in me. And if there is all the good qualities in me are come from your blessings, and without your blessings, I have nothing. So, by keeping our constant meditation on the lotus feet of the spiritual master, we can actually become instruments of Krishna and create a big transformation in people's lives, because even one moment of association with a devotee can change the course of destiny forever for a person. One impression, there is this story, I really love this story. This book distributor, he was going house to house, door to door, and I think this was in Italy. And he went to a specific house and he knocked and he talked to this lady, and the small kid was there, and he was watching the whole conversation and everything. The small kid, and the devotee he went, and I don't even know if he distributed a book. I think he might not even. They didn't even bog the book, but he went out. But this kid, because of his saintly behavior, got such a deep impression that every time this little child was in a difficult situation, was afraid or anything, he would remember the devotee and would meditate on his face and would become peaceful. And then, like 20 years after, this same child, now a grown man, met this devotee on the street and could actually buy the books and everything, and he told the whole story and became a devotee. And just like one moment of association with the Sankirtan devotee remained through this person's whole life until he became a devotee, because he was meditating on this devotee, he became a devotee. So, for what to say if we meditate on the Mahabhagavatas, the great personalities, our life can be so useful. And that's exactly the big danger we're facing in devotional society, that unfortunately this relativism infiltrated. And now you can be a devotee, but you don't have to behave like a devotee, to speak like a devotee, to do anything. If you just identify yourself, just like if I identify myself as a lady, you have to accept me. And if I identify myself as a Vaishnava, you have to accept me also. So this is a great danger, because we're giving a bad example to society at large. People have no standard, no one to meditate upon as how to become a saintly person. So this is actually a great gift devotees do simply by living. Their personal example is a source of inspiration for all sincere souls. And it's actually our good behavior that plants the seed for good behavior in others. And as teachers, if we do not get rid of our anarthas, we're actually planting our anarthas on others also. We're also teaching others how to misbehave, because this is the great danger. That's why someone who's not qualified should not be a spiritual master, teacher, mother, or father. But we're here, and I personally have no qualification, but we should try our best not to inspire others to have more anarthas, So this is the science of Krishna consciousness, and actually by following this scientific process, everything is revealed to the devotee. Krishna's name, Krishna's abode, Krishna's form, the purport of the Vedas, Yasadeve Parabhaktiri Yatadeve Tatat Guru Tasyata Katete Harta Prakashante Mahatmanaha. For one who has unflinching faith on the spiritual master and the scriptures, all the purport of the Vedas are revealed in his heart. So simply by becoming a servant of our spiritual master, by really faithfully following this process and trying our best to be a good example for others, Krishna will reveal everything. What's the need of all this academicism in all this intellectualism in devotional society, if we had no practical basis to spread the mercy to others? So this is actually why Krishna came again and spoke to Arjuna, because they had the knowledge, but it was lost somehow because the devotees were not living it. So people couldn't learn. And the same thing as Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he had to recover, enter into recovery mode, the bhakti process, because so many apasampradayas, they had took over the knowledge and were teaching exactly how to go to hell. So he had to recover the whole thing and scientifically separate what's real bhakti from illusion. And so Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur Prabhupada and our own Srila Prabhupada. So today is the appearance day of two great personalities who taught by their example also. And I personally, I'm not so knowledgeable about the Vaishnava history, so I did a little research. So if you want to compliment or anything, please feel free. I need the blessings of all devotees to be useful. So it's the appearance day of two acharyas, Kashishwara Pandit and Bhurgarbha Goswami. So Kashishwara Pandit was a disciple of Ishwara Puri. He was a spiritual brother of Lord Chaitanya. And he was actually considered a senior devotee to Lord Chaitanya. But he became a personal servant of Lord Chaitanya when Ishwara Puri was leaving the world. And in his pastimes, he told Kashishwara Pandit to go to Puri and serve Lord Chaitanya, help him in his pastimes. So Lord Chaitanya, as the perfect example of Vaishnava behavior, he didn't want to accept that service from a senior devotee. But he consulted Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and asked him, what should I do, And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, it's the instruction of your guru, you should accept it. And then he became a personal servant of the Lord.
Is that Govinda or Kashishwara?
Both of them, actually. Yeah, both of them.
Where is this from?
This is from ISKCON Desire Tree.
Oh.
Yeah. They both went together actually.
Oh, I see. I thought it was just Govinda.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's most like spoken of, but Kashishwar Pandit went together. There's, if you want, we can, it's from Chaitanya Charitamrita 2:13, this chapter 2:13. And Kashishwar Pandit, he was like a really strong-bodied devotee, you know. So he actually was serving in many ways Lord Chaitanya, but one of the ways he served was during like Lord Chaitanya's Ratha Yatra. He would be like a security guard, protecting Lord Chaitanya. And he also would serve like prasadam after all the kirtans and everything. So today is a very auspicious day. We should beg for Kashishwara Goswami mercy. So you want to compliment Prabhu on that? Yeah, that's like all the information could have. Yeah, all the information you could have. And oh yeah, and also Burgharba Goswami, he was actually, it says in this Kundazarja that he was like the uncle, paternal uncle of Lokanath Goswami, and was like his best friend. So they all received the instruction by Lord Chaitanya to go to Vrindavan. And before the Goswamis, all the 6 Goswamis came, they were actually like exploring the place and finding different pastime sites of Lord Krishna. All the forests in which Krishna would perform his pastimes. Lokanath Goswami and Burgabha Goswami, they went there first, and they would just like wander around the place, calling for the names of the different forests, you know. And Vrinda Devi, she personally showed them where exactly the pastimes were performed, revealed to them. So also, I think I forgot to say that Kashishwara Pandit also was he that he was worshipping the deities of Shri after after Rupa Goswami found the deity of Govindaji, he actually was serving Lord Chaitanya in Puri, but then after the word came to Lord Chaitanya about the deity, he was actually sent to Vrindavan to worship the deities. So he worshipped the deity of Radha Govinda.
Wasn't he like he was sent to Vrindavan before the 6 Goswamis, right?
This is Burgu, but I forgot to say this was Kashishwara. Kashishwara. This I forgot to say this other detail. Yeah, he was worshipping the deity. Yeah, and Burgabab Goswami, I have not many informations about him, but just like Lokanath Goswami, he was like actually the 7th Goswami, but he was so humble that he asked to be left out of the books, so he wouldn't become famous and everything. And he had the same like mood, you know, was very, very like a very humble personality, and this is mostly what I know about him, you know. If you want to compliment.
Isn't there like another thing which goes along with it? For the live stream. I don't know. Hare Krishna. Okay, I guess I'll just speak loudly. So, one thing about Bhugarba Goswami, the reason he's called Bhugarba is because he would go underground. Bhugarba, he would take shelter of the underground in Vrindavan, and that's where he would go and he would perform his bhajan. That's why he was called Bhugarba Goswami. That's one of the only things I remember. I don't know. You raised your hand with it.
Can you turn the camera?
When I was in Mayapur, I was with Abhinava Prabhu, disciple of Bhakti Swami, and he took me to Kashishwar Shripat, which is this holy place in West Bengal. And we spent the day traveling on trains to get there. And there's beautiful deities that Kashishwar Pandit worshipped, and Prabhupada writes about how beautiful these deities are in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Wow. So we got to go see, and we read from certain sections of the Chaitanya Charitamrita sitting in front of these deities. And a name, Kashishwar Pranadan, was the name of Kashishwar Pandit. Because Mahaprabhu, this devotee, was very, very dear to Lord Chaitanya. So one of his names was Kashishwar Pranadan, the life and soul, or the very life of his wealth of my life. And I know Bhugarba Goswami, when you visit the Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan, there's Rupa Goswami Samadhi is there, and Bhajan Kutir, and directly near to Rupa Goswami Samadhi is Bhugarba Goswami Samadhi. And when you do the parikrama around the temple, devotees circumambulate Bhugarba Goswami Samadhi also. Very important personality, but there's not so much written.
Yeah.
You have to have like association with deep devotees to hear about those kinds of personalities.
Yeah, and another point about Kashishwar Pandit, and he said to Lord Chaitanya when he was going to Vrindavan to worship the deity, he said, but if I go to Vrindavan, I leave your association, my heart's going to part in two, I'm going to die. So he said, how can I fulfill your order and remain alive at the same time? So Lord Chaitanya, understanding his heart, he said, okay, you take me with you. So he gave a self-manifest deity of himself to him.
Wow, that's amazing.
And this is a Gaur Govinda, if I'm not... And this deity were worshipped together with Rupa Goswami Govinda Ji. And they are still today in Rajasthan, in Jaipur. And they're together, these two deities. So Lord Chaitanya gave him himself in the form of a deity. And he was like the one who established the worship of Gaur Vigraha. This is very important also, I was forgetting. Anything else more?
Yeah, Prabhu, so in regards to the points you were making previously, it's actually inconceivable in some ways, but in some ways it's actually pretty conceivable. But you're talking about, the stuff that goes on in Brazil in the name of like intellectualism and all this kind of stuff. But it actually I can't believe, like, do renunciate sannyasis kiss women on the cheek and like be renounced like that at the same time, or like?
No, this not so. It happened. Yeah, some things like that. Yeah, but mostly like devotees in general, or that go to the temple. In the temple, you see them hugging and all this like non-Vaishnava behavior, like wearing dhotis and everything, and so many crazy things that happen. I just received in WhatsApp. This is really heavy stuff. They are doing in a dham, in a farm community. That it's in the name of the Society of Srila Prabhupada. They're doing a retreat, which has Shiva something, the name, like what? Shiva something. It has Tantra Yoga. And I don't know if you know about this, like cacao ceremony, cocoa. No. It's like, cocoa, it's cocoa, and cocoa. But it actually has like, some of the fruits have like a high percentage of caffeine, So when actually you take this, this thing itself is another substance. It's not caffeine, but has a different effects. Like it makes you like chill. You know, it's like a. So people do this in Brazil, like cocoa ceremonies, that they take like high doses of this stuff. It's like a, I don't know exactly, probably like aphrodisiac or something like that.
It's an aphrodisiac, yeah.
Yeah, so they were doing that also in Prabhupada's society, in Prabhupada's farm community, you know, the same place where deities are. They're doing all this nonsense. And in another place, in another farm community, at the same time, this is happening right now. They're doing a retreat where they are speaking about yoga, Tao, and they're mixing all these different philosophies in the name of preaching. And they're presenting this as a retreat, you know? So devotees are really like, we're trying to fight for it, you know, but it's really hard because the whole system itself is so hard. You have almost nobody to report this to because they're
report it, they'll be like, good, they're doing good. Wow, that's a good idea.
You know, so yeah, we're trying to do something about it.
It's a shame, you know, because it seems like when the leadership itself, you know, like when those who are supposed to be in the renounced order of life just make a joke of the renounced order of life. I mean, like, you know, it's okay, like, you know, like you know, if some new guy comes and he says, Swami Maharaj himself has a girlfriend, why can't I have one or two? What's the difference? Like, what difference does it make?
Yeah.
You know, and then and it's happening right now. It's happening right now. I mean, like, can you imagine what it's going to be like in 20 years, 30 years? Like, if y'all don't do something about it, if y'all can do something, can you imagine what's going to happen? Same thing, like, you know, can you imagine what's going to happen, like, to those who are not following? Even if right now it's so bad, like, you know, how bad is it going to be in the future? Like, those who are Hindu-oriented will definitely have demigods on top of the altar.
Yeah, definitely.
And those who are, like, Western-oriented will have, like, basically, like, you know, like, some lusty activities in the name of preaching going on, you know? Can you imagine? And what's going to happen to their kids? Like, what's it going to... It just becoming like a different flavor of Hinduism, but like... And depending on the... That's why Krishna speaks about this in the 17th chapter, Divisions of Faith.
Yeah.
You know, that depending on the modes of nature, it's like a flavor of Maya that, like, you know, that people are more attracted to, you know. So, like, you know, it's like the cacao ceremony, yoga, Tao flavor of Hinduism, which is like... You know, I mean, that's what it is. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, that's what it is. And, like, you know... It seems like, you know, Brazil, people are very sensual.
Yeah.
You know, so like, it would definitely lead to breaking a couple of the 4 regulative principles.
All of them, probably.
All of them. I mean, I think they'll leave out meat eating for now. Maybe they'll be vegetarian. Maybe. Hopefully. I mean, well, hopefully. God knows. God. But yeah, you know,
God knows.
It just destroys the atmosphere, desecrates the atmosphere that Srila Prabhupada set, you know. And, you know, it's far too gone at this point, you know, what to do. We just have to, like, stick it out and do the real thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, together. That's why we're very happy you're here, you know, like, to show, like, the, you know, like, to show our love for you, to what you're doing, you know. We're very happy you're here, you know.
Yeah, it's the only way. Krishna, I was meditating today in this picture of Draupadi being stripped naked, you know. So I was thinking, like, they're trying to strip naked Prabhupada, you know.
Prabhupada's movement.
Yeah, Prabhupada's movement. But the same way, I was thinking, like, how Bhima completely crushed Duryodhana, you know. Like, how much pain he felt. I'm feeling this is going to be the destiny of all these people, you know. Someone's gonna crush them.
Material nature herself.
Yeah,
is crushing them right now.
Yeah, it's crushing.
Like the fact that they're such slaves to their senses, it shows that it's crushing them right now.
Yeah, right now.
They don't have to be. They're being crushed right now.
Yeah.
You know, just like the Kauravas were already destroyed by their activities.
By their own activities.
It's just like, you know, it just has to manifest. The seed has been planted. You know, now the fruit is going to come. What do you expect? You know, unless you flood that whole thing and the seeds don't grow. But if you're offensive to Srila Prabhupada, what's going to happen? You know?
That's why we need to preach a lot, you know, to make new devotees, because it's really hard for an old dog to learn new tricks. So we need to make a lot of devotees to actually occupy this position. This is what we're talking about, like how we have to make so many devotees that they will be obliged to give everything to us back again, because nobody will be able to maintain any of this. They will lose everything for Maya. They already lost the consciousness, the most important aspect, and it just naturally will follow to lose all the different facilities that Krishna blessed. So, yeah, I'm actually at the same time it's like really terrible, but I'm really really secure that all these sincere devotees that are sincerely preaching, the fruits of the sincere preaching will be really incredibly auspicious, for all humanity. So that's what makes me continue inspired, even with all this kind of crazy things, So, thank you. And then any more questions or comments? I don't know if I have time.
There's this really amazing sannyasi when I was staying at Govardhan. He's an incredible personality. He took first initiation from Gaur Govinda Swami, and Maharaj passed away. So then he took Brahminical initiation from Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and then Tamal Krishna Maharaj left this world. And he took sannyas from Shivaram Swami. Wow. He's an amazing personality. He's born in Puri, but he runs the ashram there in Govardhan. And just to the point that you were making about things changing, and Prabhupada never would compromise, And this sannyasi was speaking on Prabhupada's disappearance day, and he started crying like tears of gratitude. He was like, I'm so grateful that I'm a grand disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And he was saying, in India, so many people drink chai, and he was saying, if ISKCON if they were to accept, drinking tea drinking, then you have so many followers come and join the movement, But then the people who are coming to the society, and everything gets watered down. But
yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Matajis, have any questions? Thank you so much. Sorry for my disqualification. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.